just can't accept what you're seeing. Yet you're coping and seething. The truth that is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething.
Listen to what I'm saying, and you will understand, perhaps, what I'm trying to imply here.
That's very patronizing.
Yeah, I am being patronizing. I don't know who the you are, and you're over here chirping all the way from London about Palestine.
Stepping time!
Palestine.
Stepping time!
Palestine.
Stepping time! Stepping time! Come on, mighty!
Palestine.
Stepping time! Stepping time! Stepping time!
Palestine.
Never need a reason, never need a rhyme, it's stepping time!
Palestine.
Get your knees up! Get your knees up!
Palestine.
Get your knees up!
Palestine.
Never need a reason, never need a rhyme, get your knees up!
Palestine.
Power of one, the power of two, the power of
Down to Papa Roach, bleed 182.
the power of one, the power of two, the power of
He's gonna make a great stepdad for Jake.
Every single person that's intelligent, hardworking, ambitious, had dreams and goals, has abandoned England in the last 200 years.
Holy crap! Holy crap!
Victimizers beware. The racist and bigots' greatest nightmares. Social justice warriors. Get triggered.
It's the bias response team.
If you've been offended, your feelings must be defended. The freedom of expression is a microaggression. Here comes Angela Frey. He's always ready to fight fascism with fascism.
Starbucks windows don't stand a chance.
Ethic enhancer. He's a systematic racism finder. Using the powers of screaming and shame, they win every debate by calling your name. They're heroes who think that they're victims. Social justice warriors. Get triggered. Gray skies, the wasteland burns, but hope won't die. Every screen's a twisted lie, built to break us, make us comply. They poison the heroes, rewrite the tales, turn legends to dust, leave us frail. But we're not done, we won't bow down. Through the wreckage, we'll take the crown. Steel hearts ignite, fire in our veins. Freedom's calling, breaking the chains. They can't erase what we already know. Hyperdrive now, let's fucking go. Hyperdrive time, we're burning the night. Blazing through shadows, our stories ignite. Will all the fans come ride with me as we laugh at foolish hypocrisy? Hyperdrive time is now or it's never, as long as they rule. Let's fucking go forever. Forever.
Fantastic start to everything. We are we're getting felted by StreamYard straight out of the gate. We have got absolutely no idea because mine just decided to totally crash on me as I was running the intro that this program has played a billion times before, or at least 43 times before. So I'm going to need you guys to let me know that you can hear me and see me loud and clear and everything's going okay, because I can't have another one like that one where it all went crazy and I had to get my PC repaired. Hello, of course, to those of you who can see and hear me. So hopefully all is well. And of course, it is that time again, folks. It's a new week, and that means there is tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff that I have missed out on. So let's get this show on the road, ladies, gentlemen, and nothing in between. Welcome once again to another voyage of discovery, racing through the wastes of the internet to the further reaches of sanity on a never-ending quest to rid the universe of absolute bollocks. Yes. Of course, we are gonna be getting on with everything very quickly, but of course, before we set off, please ensure that you keep your brains inside the vehicle at all times with your eyeballs firmly screwed to the screen. Now, of course, we will just go ahead and see who we've already got here, because it's nice that we have a little bit of a loyal following of people who are always here before the intro even runs. People like Derek Smith, shout out to you, pre-liking the stream. Guys, if you want to support the channel, if you want this stream to do better and better and better and get more people in here, you want to talk to them, please like the stream. You know how it goes. You know the drill. Here's my glamorous assistant to help.
Like the stream.
You gotta like the stream. It always helps. It helps everybody out, of course. Rio is here. Says, "Evening, Will of the fans. Hope you're well tonight." Yeah, I'm doing better. I'm still the sickest there is, because that's what my thing says. But yeah, I'm recovering. I'm almost back to normal. Just when I wake up, I feel like gash. But it's all getting better. It's been a messy one though. Like really clinging on. Does not want me back to 100%. But unfortunately for this dirty little cold I've had, I cannot be defeated so easily. Divining Dragon says, "Blessings all." Gotta love that. Welcome to the show. One sec. Tea is so helpful. Divining Dragon says lots and lots of stuff, and howdy to you too. Of course, there's me and there's Shilling. Then, of course, we have Slay Every Game. Hello to you too. And Nathan Moon is here. Just saw Gina Carano was great at Discovery and a lawsuit against Disney. Yeah, I know. I was trying to see if there was a way I could crowbar that into the show, but I have a packed show already. But that is fantastic. Yeah, they've been forced to hand over their pay records within 20 days. Disney, that is. So that's great. We are definitely going to see some results coming from this. There is nothing they can do to stop it at the end of the day. They've done everything they can to slag off Gina, to ostracize Gina, to humiliate Gina, and she just cannot be stopped. She's inevitable at this point. She's like Thanos, and good, because it's actual justice, you know, as opposed to social justice, which is fantastic, because the cream will rise to the top. They have clearly discriminated against her. Every line of their narrative falls apart under even the most minute scrutiny, and she is a lovely, lovely lady who got completely disrespected and deserves a solid win over the mouse here. Disney's getting felted left, right, and center at the moment. It's in the poll. I put Disney as one of the options for who's the biggest loser of the year so far. Excuse me. And so far, Ubisoft is winning. And that's totally understandable, because they are, in fact, going under as a result of their losses. But, of course, Disney should not be underestimated in this either, because they have released two major films, two major tentpole films, both of which have spectacularly bombed, and now they're getting their ass handed to them by Minecraft, which we'll get to in just a few seconds. And let's not forget, they're also responsible for Doctor Who, which is as irrelevant as it's ever been at the moment. So there we go. Dad of the fans is here, making sure I know that everything is working okay. Thank you very much for that, Pops. Appreciate you. Richard R is here, and we are a go. Let's get into it then. Now, of course, if you are liking the stream, then please do like the stream. It helps others to find it, which means picking up more lost souls along the way. Your in-flight entertainment can be easily located by hitting the join button and joining the Grift Force for some kick-ass perks and cool emojis. Also, recommend to me what emojis you want me to add, because we do have a slot or two available at the moment, thanks to some huge gifted memberships that came in at the end of last month. So appreciate everybody for that. So, and of course, lastly but not least, if you want some gaming or you have any questions, comments, or just need to pull over for a second, gets too much for you, don't forget to tip your driver. All right, then. With that said, we've got so many topics to talk about, so many things that are going on between Minecraft coming out and Captain America bombing, Snow White bombing, Doctor Who is approaching any moment. We're going to be getting that at the weekend for the first time in a year almost. And Jesus Christ, it's just getting crazier and crazier. Superman is dividing audiences. Assassin's Creed is still in the mix for most disappointing game of the entire year. Ubisoft in general is getting backlash. Nintendo is getting felted. Oh, man. So let's just start off with the obvious one, the biggest one of the lot, and that is the baffling success of the Minecraft movie. Well, I say baffling. There's nothing baffling about this. It's I feel like a lot of people in our sphere of influence, if you like, and that includes everybody from me all the way down to people just starting out, all the way up to people like Nerdrotic, Critical Drinker, and people like that have underestimated. And that might not be everybody, by the way. I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth. It's just the vibe I'm getting from seeing people's reactions to the story is that they have not expected Minecraft to do very well at all, or not as well as it's done. And nobody did. Hollywood themselves did not expect Minecraft to do as well as it's done. And frankly, if you want my honest opinion from everything I know about this film, and I've spoken to a few people who've bothered to see it so far, I don't even know if it's out in the Philippines yet. Or maybe I could go see it if it matters that much to you, but I don't think it does. This movie is brain rot. This movie, from what I can tell, had no plan at all besides crowbarring in as many memeable moments as they possibly could, getting in all of the the little key jangling references to things from Minecraft, which again is very difficult for me to comment on because I've probably spent about a combined 10 to 15 hours playing Minecraft in my entire life. It's a great game. I can totally see the appeal. I can absolutely see why so many people love it. I can also see why it was welcomed into educational institutions, especially for people with special needs. And I'm certainly not in the target audience for this, being a man nearly 40 years old. I'm much more the target audience for the Super Mario Brothers movie, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It wasn't exactly what I would have made, but it was pretty damn close, to be fair. Here's the thing. Minecraft movie has an audience, and this is not a great thing when you actually break down who the audience are, because the audience are the generation of phone addicted, tablet watching, low attention span teenagers and young children who have been raised by Minecraft videos in lieu of parenting. It's unfortunate, and that is a sweeping statement too. I mean, there's obviously a lot of different mini demographics within the audience, etc. There are a couple of reasons why I'm sure people underestimated this. The first, of course, is the fact that no movie has managed to get children into cinemas yet this year. We've seen Disney completely whiff it twice with Captain America and with Snow White. Now, Ryan predicted that Snow White would do better than Captain America, and I was laughing at him, and I sort of took that bet. We didn't make a bet particularly, but I did say I don't believe that for a second. And the reason I didn't believe that for a second is little girls are not market drivers in terms of visual media or video games. Let's just face facts. If you eliminate mobile games, girls don't play games. If you eliminate like Barbie and stuff like that, then women do not, and girls do not choose the cinema first and foremost as ways to entertain themselves. Little girls, it's more about bringing, we know this from how little girls play with toys, right? Little girls play with toys in a way that allows them to shape the toy to their wants and whatever. Whereas boys will play with action figures of characters that they aspire to be like. This is why the whole identity politics and I need to see myself represented on screen thing falls flat, because guys don't need to see themselves represented on screen. They will feel represented by anything that they like. Like we were playing Ninja Turtles. I always bring this up, or Sonic the Hedgehog. Boys can respond to things like that. Girls cannot. Boys will see a trailer for a movie that's based on a video game and will pester their parents to take them. Girls probably will not, but boys will want to go, and that means their sisters will have to go, and that means their parents will have to go, and blah 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 blah. It's the same reason why Snow White doesn't work, because little girls don't care and they're watching TikTok and their mothers are probably insulted. So that's why it's happened the way that it's happened. That's the way I see it. I feel like I'm right. I don't necessarily have the data to back it up, but that's just sort of an informed guess, I suppose. So as a result, then, you've got little boys leading the market, dragging their parents and families into cinemas to go and see this very, very stupid, very, very memeable movie that doesn't appear to have a coherent story, didn't rumored to have not even had a script when some of it was already shot. And people were being asked to script something that just about barely makes sense, so that they can build it around all these memeable moments. And that is the most cynical way to make a movie. So am I happy that the Minecraft movie is smashing records and blowing up the entire fucking Hollywood box office scene? Absolutely not. No. Morally and ethically, no, not at all. But I also think it's hilarious just how badly out of touch Hollywood is, even when they succeed. 1 second. So a Minecraft movie worldwide box office has smashed $300 million. Now that's worldwide, of course, in its opening 3-day weekend. That has beaten every single opening for a video game adaptation except one. Now, we've been saying for a long time now that we're waiting for the great big boom of video game movies to take over from comic book movies. This is the next thing. It's going to be shared cinematic universes between Mario, Sonic, and we've also, of course, got a Zelda movie that looks set to be coming out at some point soon as well. But, well, I don't think this is going to be a good thing. Obviously, as a gamer, as a gamer-gator, I am very much for gatekeeping gaming and not diluting or, you know, just absolutely wanking away the goodwill of the games industry and gamers in general. We've already taken a lot of lumps thanks to bad adaptations, terrible sequels, DEI, and of course, fucking diversity and narrative consulting firms, Sweet Baby Inc., everything like that. And we've seen all this stuff play out. So we're all very guarded about it. Little kids are not yet, which is why it's the job of the parents to make sure that what they're engaging with on the internet in the first place is actually something that's actually going to help their cerebral development as opposed to inhibit it. Yes, I am here. I'm always 2 hours before Hypno. Yes, that's right. Thank you very much. Although Hypno still, I think, is on Rumble only this week. So you'll have to swap that platform over later to check out Hypnocast after the show. I will be trying to get Rumble back up and running as soon as I can, as soon as I have like a spare hour. But it's so very much content manufacture today is what I do on my technically Tuesday. But this is what we're talking about first, because I just got to get it out there. I used to do a lot more box office analysis videos and things like that, and now I'm largely involved in Gamergate. But when something like this happens, you need to stop, take a look around, and kind of measure the zeitgeist. Because yes, it's a fucking terrible sounding movie. I've seen some of the EFAP about it. I've spoken to Ryan about it. I've heard from other people who've seen it. I've watched videos by other content creators and popular YouTubers that I watch and you watch and we all watch talking about it. It's brain rot, basically. It's empty, vacuous brain rot for kids. And yeah, that's a big problem because it's successful. Unlike other films that have failed and flopped and made completely embarrassing numbers, Minecraft is succeeding spectacularly, which sets a dangerous precedent. But here we go. Without wishing to sound too much like a scolding parent, I'm not at that point quite yet. My child is still only 10 months old, and the second one is still cooking. So we'll get there, but it's not today. Okay, this article comes from Koi Moi, which I've never heard of before, but it seems to have a fairly balanced take. It says, yeah, you're right there, Lavistro. I can see what you're saying, but I got to crack on. It is done. The verdict for the global opening of a Minecraft movie is finally here, and it is outstanding. The film has scored winning numbers at the box office, including an IMAX on its debut weekend, registering the biggest one ever for Jason Momoa in Europe. The video game adaptation has finally ended the dry spell at theaters, and the exhibitors will finally get a true blockbuster. Okay, sounds great. Sounds like a win. Finally, Hollywood gets their win back. They're finally getting that W they've been looking for about, Jesus Christ, 5 years since they really just hardcore signed up to the Koof narrative and got into the whole striking thing at the end of 2023. That was the most rotted possible time to go on strike when you're barely bouncing back from a global pandemic that, of course, we are raising an eyebrow or two about these days, and always were, really. But this is obviously, yeah, it's a huge win. It's a huge win for two guys in particular, Jason Momoa, who I just don't understand what the fuck Jason Momoa is supposed to be in this movie. Why is he dressed in that ridiculous jacket? Why does he have like bangs? That's not masculine. It's feminine. And why is Steve Jack Black? I'm sorry. Steve and Minecraft is supposed to be just, it's supposed to be chill. It's supposed to be relaxing and creative. And this movie is not at all relaxing. And if there was one person that I would have never, ever thought would get cast as Steve from Minecraft, it's Jack Black. And don't get me wrong, I was a big Jack Black fan in the 2000s, just like most people were. I liked Tenacious D. I thought most of his movies were great. School of Rock was a great movie. I really liked him in High Fidelity. It's one of my favorite films pretty much ever. And loads of stuff like that. But you get a silent protagonist and then cast one of the loudest mouths in Hollywood to play him. That's ridiculous. That's like casting Gilbert Gottfried to play Garfield. It's insanity. Nacho Libre, yes, of course. That was another one by the Napoleon Dynamite director. So you can absolutely see why he's obviously immediately brought Jack Black in here. Don't forget, Jack Black, of course, also absolutely the second video game adaptation for him, because he's Bowser as well in the Mario movie. So this is Jack Black cementing himself now, unfortunately for us, as a bankable star, despite him doing the same shtick he's been doing since we were teenagers. This is bad, you know? Everything he touches becomes less serious as well, which is unfortunate. So it looks like we're going to be watching Jack Black playing Steve from Minecraft for several years now. He's done lots of work in games too. Yes, you're right there. I mean, of course, Brutal Legend is a major one. That was his big video game vehicle. So anyway, it's described here, Minecraft, as an American fantasy adventure comedy based on the 2011 video game by Mojang. It's Mojang, yeah. Studios. Jared Hess directed it. And the reported budget is an estimated $150 million. Well, the thing is, I didn't see much about this movie suffering, so it could actually have a budget of $150 million. They don't spend the kinds of money that you are expecting to see from Disney, etc., etc. Disney, by far, the biggest budgets in Hollywood, so I can believe that this is a $150 million movie. But there you go. It's done ridiculously well considering that. No one was expecting this to do as well as it's done, except for people like me who looked at it and said, oh, no, I hate this trailer. I hate what they've done here. I think this is brain rot. I know it'll succeed because kids will go. And I mean, I know this because, and my dad's watching, he'll probably even remember. We went to the cinema to see the Super Mario Brothers 1993 movie, and I liked it when I was 7 or 8 or whenever it came out. And the reason for that is because you had such little expectations. Anything that happens to mention lines or names of characters that you recognize, you're going to go, oh, yeah. This is why children should not be relied on as a market force for franchises like Star Wars, etc., which exist to be something a little higher than this. I certainly enjoyed the new Mario movie. I certainly did. And whenever I've gone back and watched the old Mario movie, my inner child is still going, you know, this ain't so bad. I mean, sure, the Mushroom Kingdom is this weird dystopian parallel New York instead of bright and colorful. And sure, there's no actual mushrooms in it apart from the fungus that's growing everywhere all over it. And sure, the Goombas are giants with peanut-sized heads as opposed to big heads on tiny bodies. And sure, there's no actual Koopa Troopers in it. And sure, there's really not that much time spent going in pipes. And there's hardly any coins. And actually, Dennis Hopper really shouldn't be playing Bowser, and they didn't even call him Bowser. They called him Koopa, and Mario and Luigi are strange. it's weird, but the thing is, the nostalgia will carry it through, because I'll still think it's not so bad. It's terrible, by the way. It's a terrible film, and yet the child in me remembers liking it. So that's the human bias that we have to deal with. And this is unfortunately going to carry the Minecraft franchise for a long, long time. And unfortunately, that's not necessarily a good thing. And I'll get to why in just a second. Raging D-Head is here for $10. Thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate you.
Drop it.
Yeah. Wants me to drop it. All right, says U.S. Supreme Court has sided with President Trump. Deportations of violent Tren de Aragua gang members to resume. Mercante must be ecstatic knowing her distaste for the light browns. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Yeah, I know they're kicking out all the gangsters. They're deporting people to El Salvador. And I know you did that just to get the nice little dig in there about Mercante. It must suck to be her, to just be getting insulted by the entire internet. At any given moment, someone is on somebody's channel slagging off that woman, using anything you can tie to her to insult her. That's how disliked you are. And you know, when you've become that level of disliked on the internet, you have felt it yourself. You are done. Still, kudos to Trump. The U.S. Supreme Court absolutely should side with him. I mean, it's not a huge shock considering that at least a third of the people on the Supreme Court were appointed by Trump. Although Amy Coney Barrett has been less loyal to Trump and more kind of unbiased than most people would have expected, which I actually don't mind, because if she shows a little bit of competition or consideration and gets the deciding vote and still sides with Trump, then Trump has a point. It's not just blind faith. The libtards can't really run with that. So that's great. And thank you, Raging D-Head. So anyway, yeah, so here we are. And nobody predicted this. Deadline didn't predict this. Everybody didn't have a clue that this was going to come out and do anywhere near this kind of stuff, this kind of numbers. And the Minecraft movie collected $144.1 million in its international debut across 75 markets. It's reportedly registered the second best opening for a video game adaptation, behind the Super Mario Brothers movie. Jason Momoa and Jack Black's film has already marked a 19.4 million global debut in IMAX, fifth best ever for a family title. And it's going on and on and on. Now, the thing is, it's also technically broken records, but you have to look at the data in a particular way to see those records getting broken. It's all about the fact that the Super Mario Brothers movie technically opened on a Wednesday, and so it had a whole extra day before Minecraft, so that they could get a little bit of a head start. I think a lot of people didn't expect the Mario movie to make anywhere near as much money as it did, so technically it made more money in its opening weekend than Minecraft, but it had more days. In fact, these two films really should not be compared to each other in any way, because there are too many differences between them. But they want to be saying it's breaking records. They want to be able to say that it's all doing ridiculously well and blowing up records everywhere you go. If you look at the numbers right now, you will see that Minecraft is currently reporting a $313.45 million worldwide gross, which of course we can see if we compare it. If you give me a second here, I can get some further financials up and we can take a look at what exactly that means when compared to other movies. So we can compare it to Snow White, of course. We can compare it to Super Mario Brothers. We can compare it to Captain America Brave New World. So let's do that and take a quick look at this chart. So, right, obviously, the blue line here is Super Mario Brothers movie speeding along. Right behind it, Minecraft on its third day now, which is 162 million. Super Mario Brothers on day 3 only had 113 million, but you have to remember that day 3 for Super Mario Brothers was one day earlier in the week. So day 4 brought it 170 million. So Minecraft is outperforming Mario at this point. We don't know if that will continue. It depends what the legs have to say, but that is the way it is right now. Fair enough if it does outpace Mario, but at the same time, you have to look at what Disney has been up to lately. 1 second. So Disney released Captain America Brave New World back when they did, which was at the start of March. Wasn't it? God, mid-February. Wow, we are speeding through this year. So it really didn't move the needle at all. There's no way its budget is actually $180 million. We know for a fact that it's got to be at least $100 million on top of that, because they shot basically another whole movie on top of that. And that's the reported budget anyway. But as of now, it still has only just crossed the $400 million line worldwide, which is probably still not enough for it to actually make money. Because again, the stated budget as of 3 years ago was $180 million. It definitely didn't have that kind of support that it needed. It got panned in test screenings and had to be reshot until they basically had a whole separate movie. There's no way that's the budget. If you then add on, of course, marketing and distribution costs and the cut that Disney actually makes from tickets, $400 million is nowhere near enough for it to break even. It's a flop. It's bombed. Super Mario Brothers, on the other hand, had a budget of $100 million and made $1.35 billion. So that's where we are with that. Caught up already? Yeah. Well done. If you can stand to listen to me at 2 times speed, that's how you'll get there. I already talk quite quickly. Disney's Snow White then. And oh my God, Disney's Snow White. What a fucking disaster this has become. This is one of the biggest flops ever in movie history. Disney's Snow White did not have a budget of $270 million, as it has in fact been reported now, most recently, that the budget might have been as high as $410 million. Somewhere between $350 and $410 million. And of course, Disney, looking for that tax break, shot a lot of it in the UK. So we are going to find out. We're going to find out exactly how much they spent on this movie very, very soon, because they will get their tax write-off and they'll have to file the financials, and that has to be public. So we will see. Needless to say, it doesn't even matter, because at this point, okay, out of Captain America and Snow White, I mean, you don't need me to tell you which one is doing the worst. It's clearly Snow White. we've got a couple articles here. As Captain America Brave New World finally crawls toward $200 million domestic box office after disastrous 8 weeks. 8 weeks to get to $200 million. Man, they would not pull this movie, would they? No matter what they did, they would not pull this fucking movie. It was getting completely destroyed. Whoa. Sorry, didn't mean to do that. It was getting completely destroyed. Will you fuck off that Park Place? What are you doing? After 8 full weeks in theaters, Captain America Brave New World finally on the verge of crossing $200 million. 8 weeks. Now, I don't usually do this, but we're going to go to Collider because even they are having to admit now that this is a fucking disaster. Absolute disaster. Snow White struggling to pass 200 million. That's right. They will not pass 200 million. It doesn't actually look like Snow White will pass 200 million at all. The movie ultimately grossed over 700 million worldwide, but Snow White will struggle. That's The Lion King. The Snow White will struggle to hit the $200 million mark with 78 million domestically and another 90 million from overseas markets. The film's cumulative global haul now sits at a dismal 168 million globally after what, 3 weekends now? Yeah, it's not good, guys. It's not looking good at all. Disney Snow White, there you go. Let's just look at their fucking financials alone. You can see how terribly this has gone. You can see that in their first weekend they lost the second weekend they lost 66%. They've then lost another 50% of that in their box office history. So as a result of all of this stuff, we can pretty much see, I mean, look at this. Look right here. Minus 66%, minus 59%. Damn, man, that is embarrassing. Totally embarrassing. Oh.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
So here we go then. And if you look, 42 million, 14, 5.9. Damn, that is savage. That is savage. That is the power of Rachel Zegler. Rachel Zegler and Peter Dinklage destroyed this movie before it ever had a chance. Truly humiliating. And that's really it. Because now, based on that trajectory, if you calculate 60% loss again, well, then you're looking at what? Less than 3 million next week, 2 million, 2.5 million next week. What's that? If it carries on again like that, 1 million the following. Oh no, this movie is not going to cross $200 million. That is setting, frankly, to put it, let's get it on the screen. Let's just do it. Add the Marvels to that. The Marvels and Snow White battling to see which one will be worse. Combined global box office. Worldwide, the Marvels did less than $200 million. Global. Is Disney's Snow White going to steal that title of Disney's biggest flop of all time? Well, frankly, I hope so. Because it couldn't happen to a more deserving bunch of wankers. It couldn't happen to a more deserving little madam of a jumped up, stuck up Hollywood bitch in Rachel Zegler. And this is true fuck around, find out territory. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. This is what we've been saying since 2018. Since The Last Jedi, since Doctor Who, since everything started down this path, we were saying eventually Disney won't be able to pay people to watch their fucking movies. The zeitgeist does not care. This is the problem of DEI. This is the problem of wokeness, the problem of cultural Marxism, is in order to actually support any of these attitudes, you need to be able to build a paradox machine. You need to be able to build a system built around actual reality, actual natural selection, actual human opinion. You need to be able to build a system that supports lies upon lies upon lies that everyone knows are lies, and yet nobody can actually argue with because you'll just get shouted down by the system. That is exactly what's happened here. And the problem is, at a certain point, there's one thing you still cannot do, because we're not living in communist China, and that is force people to pay to engage with the shit that you are making. This is the reason that Gamergate is undefeated. This is the reason that Snow White is completely felted. This is the reason, because at the end of the day, you can call us names. You can call us racist. You can call us sexist. You can call us bigots. You can call us grifters. You can call us misogynists. You can call us anything you fucking want under the sun. And that won't stop us anymore, because we don't give a shit what you call us. But even if that somehow still worked, you cannot force people to go and engage with what you are peddling. And if people don't want to, they won't. And you will find out the hard way, because we choose with our wallets. And of course, there's another great example of this in Doctor Who, which is back, of course, this weekend with series 215 or 41. Now, I covered this in a video yesterday, but I wanted to just go over it again because there's some things here we don't know about yet. And there's some real true cringe. Real true cringe. Now, Doctor Who for me represents, well, first of all, it needs to die, because it's almost algorithmic cancer at this point to talk about Doctor Who. It does really well and makes everything else drop off. But unfortunately, that won't be something anyone can rely on very soon, as the show is more culturally irrelevant now than it's ever been. It has less audience now, less interest now from sci-fi fans than it had in 1989. It is toasted. There is no one interested in this absolute pish. No one. So, the premiere is coming out this weekend with Robot Revolution, which, of course, is a completely stupid idea for a story, as we will find out. And AI Terrors, which, I mean, I just genuinely don't know why they've chosen to have a go at AI after using it to market their show. It doesn't make sense. Hello, Adam Juman. How you doing, man? Thanks for all those links. So Shooty Gatwa is back with a shower of outer space action for Disney's sci-fi series. This is the end of Doctor Who. All right. Look at the writing on the wall. You have a show that is completely and totally based now at this point, entirely based on DEI. You got a show that has a 15-year-old fucking Tranoid as a main character, as a side character who appears fairly often, standing a foot taller than the guy playing the Doctor, runs up, gives him a hug. He picks up the Tranoid, puts him down, and you see that he's still taller than the Doctor. Just right there, that's a perfect encapsulation of the fake reality that the Doctor Who universe wants to celebrate. It's ironic, because also Doctor Who has given me the perfect comparison for the woke mind virus paradigm in the ending of series 3 of Modern Who with John Sim as the Master. I've brought it up a few times. I'll do a quick version of it. In that story, the people from the end of the universe, the far, far reaches at the end of time, who have somehow still endured until then, the long descendant list of human beings that still survive to the end of the universe, have nowhere to go, nothing to do. There is nothing left. Everything's dying. The universe is old. It's all dying, and they're still there. They are rescued and sent to what they think is heaven, but in fact converted into an army of fucking drone sentinels and sent back in time to destroy their own ancestors. All right, to build an empire for the master. It's ludicrous unless you understand that it's built by a paradox machine that supports it happening. Otherwise, it would be impossible, of course. Can't kill your own ancestors. But that's the nature of the woke DEI mindset. You need a system that lies to you constantly in order to make lies reality and reality lies, to support the idea of marginalization, oppression, DEI being necessary in any way, shape, or form. This is why the show has collapsed. It's worse even than Star Wars at this point, and it was before Star Wars too. So the sands of time might be running out for Shooty Gat was turning the TARDIS, and this is another thing. Space.com is not the radioactive times. Space.com is not a shill site like Collider or Screen Rant. It has nothing to gain from pushing the narrative that the show is still alive and well. Nothing whatsoever. So it's not. It starts off by pointing out everything we already know. Shooty Gatwa is apparently now off to LA and not coming back. So whatever happens next, if anything, it won't involve him, which I think personally is a good reason to play an air horn. Ding dong, the F slur's gone. And there we go. So he's out. We know Russell T. Davis is looking for a replacement for himself, or has been replaced, or probably won't be replaced. We know Disney's not interested in funding it anymore because they snubbed it. They snubbed it at a convention right outside their own freaking offices in LA. They aren't interested. Bad Wolf has announced that they had fun making Doctor Who, but they're looking for new projects. It's like that. The show is fucking toasted. There's not even a Christmas special this year. And you would have had to greenlight that a year ago. Literally, if you look at the most recent Christmas special for this show, we were getting teaser photos from the set before last year's or 2023's Christmas special aired. So yeah, it's that kind of bad. Anyway, last season saw a significant viewer drop off. Now that, again, is a gigantic understatement. It wasn't a significant viewer drop off. It was the lowest ratings in the show's entire 60-year history. Lower than the ratings that got it canceled the first time. The lowest ever. And it didn't do any better on Disney Plus either, because Disney Plus didn't even chart in weeks against shows that were getting less than 100,000 views a week. So, jog on. Now, longtime fans' underwhelming response, hello, to the show's direction, but that's not dampening the spirits of the ever ebullient showrunner Russell T. Davis. Oh, I love talking about Doctor Who, but really I only love talking about the gay agenda because I'm a gay man and who makes Doctor Who, and everything's fantastic and foppish and wonderful and blah, 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 blah. Fucking wanker. Anyway, the Rusty Tin Dildo himself had lots of things to say, and so did Miss Varada Sethu, who decided that she was going to come out and say, hey, you know, if they call it Dr. Woke, that's a good thing because it means we're pissing off the right people. Seriously, that line was dead when Brie Larson was saying it. And that was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. You got no chance. Absolutely felt it. So it looks like the first episode is going to have Varada Sethu's new companion character of Belinda Chandra as the centerpiece because, well, I actually don't know why. I haven't got a bloody clue. It just is what it is, I guess. And it's called The Robot Revolution. And it's got everything to do with robots that seem to have lived on a planet in a star system where the star was named after her by her ex. And so the robots from that system come to London because it's always London when it's RTD. It's never anywhere else. It's either London or Cardiff, of course. And they decide that they need to get their queen and take her home. Now, we've seen that story play out before. We've seen that story play out in Doctor Who many times before. We had it in Fear Her, which was cringe. We had it in, of course, the Adipose story, where the using the earth as like a seeding ground. It's a story that Russell T Davies has done many times before, where it's all just a misunderstanding and they're not really a threat. They just have the wrong information. Automatic systems that seem to have decided that, it's always like this with Doctor Who, where some system or false history will result in a human being getting kidnapped and taken to space, or kidnapped and held hostage by some system that has the wrong information. And that's been done before many times, but apparently it starts a revolution, which itself sounds very much like a background plot of Terminator, or of course the Matrix. So I don't know what that's going to be, but it's derivative as fuck. There's an AI story too, and of course Davis is here. He says, oh, they really think she's their queen, which is so mad. You have to make robots mad too. And the maddest thing of all is the AI generator who wants to marry her. Poor Belinda. We're all discussing AI, whether it works, how it might help or harm us. This is a moment for Doctor Who to reflect that. You know what, Russell? I'm so fucking tired of having to read things in your voice, because I can just picture how you're saying them. And it is pathetic. At this point, there's nothing left for Russell T Davies to do in this show that he hasn't already ruined or infused with DEI or infused with a load of other wank like that. It's done. It's toast. This is not a strong start for what might end up being the final series of Doctor Who. And once again, it's just obvious to anyone who wants to see it or doesn't at all that this is a dead brand. It's a dead show. When you infuse everything with DEI and woke agenda and blah, 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 people just don't have to watch it. They don't have to pay for it. They don't have to subscribe to any particular service, except for, of course, the BBC, which still forces people to effectively make contributions to the government, which is then used to fund the propaganda arm of the incredibly communist United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland that seeks to oppress everybody. For the love of God, folks, get out, get out, get out.
Every single person of, that's intelligent, hardworking, ambitious, had dreams and goals, has abandoned England in the last 200 years.
So there we go. Doctor Who is toast. And it's a good thing, to paraphrase Hollywood's favorite journo trash line. It's done, guys. It is done. And it's a good thing. They need to let this show die. I've been saying this for 3 or so years now. This show died a long time ago. It died under Jodie. It was given the kill shot like 6 years ago, 7 years ago at this point. And it has not been allowed to just pass. It's been kept on life support, or it's been dragged up and paraded around like Weekend at Bernie's. It's humiliating, and it needs to stop. There are other IP that you can create. You just need to stop going back to the well and ruining the ones we used to love, because we've become exceedingly efficient at no longer caring about the things we used to love. We've been trained for it. This is the thing. They don't understand in Hollywood. They don't understand it in the video game space. They don't understand just how ready several of us are. Millions of us are, in fact, to just say, well, another one bites the dust. We've seen it. We had to face the fact that Star Wars is dead. We had to face the fact that the MCU will never be good again. We had to face the fact that Doctor Who is toast. We've had to watch as Dragon Age went trans, and fucking every other franchise that we used to like growing up is getting diluted or just kicked in the balls with DEI, nerfed. I mean, look at the Halo fans. Those poor bastards had to watch that show. Unbelievable trash. Unbelievable crap. Terminator's dead. I mean, what else is there? There's loads of stuff, but Ghostbusters, nah, no one's interested anymore. And that's not necessarily because of DEI. I think there's just a lack of interest. People are just done trusting these companies in general. And unless you have something that you can market to impressionable youth which they will actually engage with, you've got no chance of ever getting butts and seats. This is why Minecraft's doing okay. Well, it's actually doing gangbusters, but virtually nothing else is. There's only so far you can get with nostalgia. And that is what brings me to the next thing, because we're not sure what's going to happen here with Superman. Hold on a minute. Bit of lubrication there. Sorry. So the Superman movie, Schrodinger's Superman, has divided audiences. And now I'm a long time Superman fan. I love the original. I've said before, without that movie, major decisions that affected the course of my entire life, even to me sitting here right now in this country, being married to my wife and having the children I have, would not have happened. It's chaos theory, of course. Effectively, if there was no Superman movie, I never would have learned to play the song on a keyboard. If I never learned that, I would never learn piano, would never come to the Philippines to play piano, would never have been sitting here doing this now. So that's how important Superman, especially the movies, are in my life. So I really, really want to see a Superman movie succeed again. That's just my personal bias speaking there. I really want this movie to do well. But so far, it's really up in the air. Now, we had a recent teaser, and I didn't hate it. I thought some of the jokes in it, the sort of comedy with the robots at the Fortress of Solitude was okay. Don't really need it, though. Superman's a more serious character than the Suicide Squad, and a much more serious character than Guardians of the Galaxy, at least in the movies anyway. And while I think Cornsweat as this weird name, by the way, David Bunyan Damp makes a pretty reasonable Superman, actually. And that's, fantastic. And yeah, he has the potential to be what they couldn't do with Henry Cavill. And it wasn't because of Henry Cavill, of course. It was because of the writing. Writing was shite. Absolute pish. Zack Snyder, he's not really a filmmaker. He should have been making like music videos. And that's my opinion on that. He's way too serious, way too dark, way too pessimistic a franchise, the Snyderverse, for Superman. Superman needs to be optimistic, which is why I enjoyed the marketing for this initially with the look up tagline, because it sort of subtextually tells you to be optimistic. And yes, I'm aware that Trump now has been told by Supreme Court that he has the power to deport illegals. And that's a good thing. But yeah, so the problem here is that we've got a major issue straight out of the gate with the Superman movie, and that is everybody else that's in it. You don't need Hawk Girl. You don't need Guy Gardner. You don't need all these characters in your first movie. I genuinely don't understand why no one seems to be able to learn this very simple lesson. Okay? What killed the DCEU? It wasn't Zack Snyder cringe. It wasn't the bad writing. It wasn't the mismanagement per se. It was the fact that the whole thing started off on the back foot and was desperately trying to catch up to Marvel. Before Man of Steel, all we'd had was the my God, I can't think of his freaking name. The Dark Knight trilogy. And yeah, they highs and lows there. But it did seem that if they could continue with that tone, they could have a decent DCU. Zack Snyder was not the guy for the job. But the real problem is they tried too quickly to turn a standalone Superman movie into a multi-hero franchise to keep up with Avengers. That was the thing. That was the big misstep that set the DCEU back like a decade. They tried to crowbar in all these extra Justice League characters, and it was too much for the story to handle, and it buckled. And now, when James Gunn said, okay, we're going to take over, we're going to do a whole new DCU, we're going to do a new 52, if you like, we're going to have a simplified, stripped down plot line. Sounds good. All right, sign me up. This will be fantastic. And then it's like, okay, here's the trailer. All right, Superman's there. Okay, he looks like he's been beaten up. That's not a great start. But, oh well. You know, it could be James Gunn being metatextual and saying that Superman has been mismanaged and stuff, and then he says, "Take me home." And okay, that's great. That's a good sign. It's like, okay, let's go back to basics. Let's go back to basics. Superman, Lex Luthor, Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, Perry White. That's all, and of course Martha and John Kent. That's all you need for a Superman movie. Just those 7 characters. If you got them, you can tell a Superman story. You can tell the origin story again. And honestly, I think people would welcome it because they didn't do it properly with the Snyderverse. It hasn't really been done properly in movies since Superman 1, which again was almost 50 years ago. So I think people are ready to see a new origin story of Superman, up to and including him knocking out Lex Luthor for the first time. But what do we get instead in the trailer? We've got fucking peripheral Justice League characters, and not like the main ones. You've got Green Lantern in there. You've got Hawk Girl in there. There's others too, I'm sure. And it's too much. They can't learn the very simple lesson. By getting away from the DCEU and the competition with Marvel, DC was in a great position to go back to basics and start again. They were in a great position because they don't have to keep up with Marvel now, especially since Marvel is in the toilet. Marvel's on the backslide now. It could have been DC's turn. So the pessimist in me looks at this and says, you're making the same exact fucking mistake again. Okay, instead of having a very simple movie like Iron Man 1, okay, all you have to do if you want to create a cinematic universe is go, okay, I need 2 or 3 really recognizable superhero characters. All right. I'm not saying this is foolproof and it will absolutely work, because we're in a different time now. Hell, it's almost 20 years since Iron Man. Better part, 17 years since Iron Man. But we are in the position now where we can look back and say, well, what went right? Well, you had an Iron Man movie. It was just an Iron Man movie, and it did really well. Everyone in it was from Iron Man's peripheral characters, and no one from outside of his immediate sort of story until the post-credit scene with Nick Fury. And, of course, the mention of S.H.I.E.L.D. But, you know, that's fine. It was sowing the seeds for something bigger, but nothing more than that. It was primarily about Tony Stark, Pepper Potts, Obadiah Stane, and his journey from being what he is to being Iron Man. You could have just done that. You didn't get Hulk showing up in Iron Man 1. You didn't have Captain America showing up in Iron Man 1. You didn't have Thor or Hawkeye or Black Widow showing up in Iron Man 1. You just had Iron Man 1. Iron Man. With him, Potts, Stane, Rhodey. You're good. And of course, Jarvis. But that's the way it is. That's what happened. And it was a great movie. If you want to do it again with DC, you need to have a Superman movie that is just about awakening, becoming Superman for the first time, saving lives, being a hero, inspiring the people. Now, even from this shot right here, we can see there's people throwing shit at Superman, which is bad because it is evocative of the Snyderverse, where everyone hates Superman But let's make some room and have the optimistic side. We have seemingly the original John Williams soundtrack being at least evoked by the trailer. And we have some good things. We have shots of him being a hero. It looks quite nice. I know there's been some controversy about CGI faces or something, but if there's one Warner Brothers Discovery needs to be a hit in 2025, it is Superman. Because if this doesn't land, you have no universe. It's died before it got off the ground. Completely. After years of cinematic misfires, inconsistent tone, and box office bombs, the question now isn't just whether it will be good, it's whether it can save an entire franchise from total collapse. Well, it's not supposed to be doing that. It's supposed to be building a new franchise separate and distinct from the one that already collapsed. So, yeah, that's what it's supposed to be doing. And is it working? Well, time will tell. But for now, I guess we'll just carry on. At CinemaCon this week, WBD debuted 5 minutes of footage from the upcoming July 11th. Fucking hell, that's getting closer now. 2025 release. The footage now available online is giving their fans the first true sense of what Gunn is cooking up, what Tony's striking in a film that needs to balance sincerity, myth-making, and yes, a bit of humor. Gunn, whose entire career has straddled the line between heartfelt sincerity and irreverent goofiness, now finds himself in uncharted territory. Can he deliver a Superman movie that's serious enough to launch a new cinematic universe, but still carry that spark of fun that keeps audiences engaged? Because that was the thing again about Iron Man. It was tonally a beautiful mix of total seriousness and sarcastic, kind of off the wall, sardonic is probably the better word, comedy. Now, I don't need to show it. We've probably all seen it by this point. It's no exaggeration to say the future of the DC universe is riding on this film. Since the collapse of the Snyderverse, DC's cinematic outings have been a steady stream of flops: Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom, The Flash, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Black Adam, Wonder Woman 1984, and Blue Beetle. All failed. And yeah, The Flash was the worst of them. Damn. This is savage. Absolutely savage. Now, the string of failures has made Superman not just a reboot, but a last-ditch effort to reignite public interest in a franchise many now associate with disappointment. There he is in the first shot. In the first shot, which we've heard is, in fact, the opening of the movie. So there's that as well. Not the best. Not the best. But, again, if it's metatextually supposed to be saying, well, Superman's been beaten up and mistreated and we're going to do something about that now, then fair enough. But it is intriguing. It opens with a battered Kal-El played by Corin Sweat, wounded in the snow after a fight that's clearly tested his limits, but it's what happens after that sets the tone. Fortress of Solitude looks really cool. Retro-inspired robots, one voiced by Creature Commando's Alan Tudyk. He's great in everything, of course, from Firefly to now. Crypto, the super dog, that I would see a lot of people are loving Crypto. They're going, oh, wow, it's awesome. It's got the super dog is in it. Yay, wonderful. Yay, a dog. And I'm like, okay. Then, of course, there's a funny moment where the dog like just sort of smacks and jumps around all over him and knocks the fuck out of him when he's already beaten up. And I like, I guess, that Crypto's there, but it also kind of seems like the first unnecessary peripheral character. Didn't need him to be dragged home by Crypto. You could have had him just land and crawl. I don't know. Crypto was in the comics and people like him. It's I don't like key jangling shit. I don't like stuff like that, references for references' sake. But then I guess this is just James Gunn's self-insert, they said, because he's a dog lover. Anyway, it's not the Snyderverse's grim, dark tone, nor is it the chaos of Suicide Squad. It's something else entirely. The sense from the footage is that Gunn is going for a story that honors the grandeur of Superman without drowning in self-seriousness. As action, weight, and consequence, but also breathing room for personality, fun, and a nod to Silver Age roots. Yeah. And the film has to work. WBD isn't just launching a movie, they're launching a universe. The clip finishes with shots of other DC metahumans and teases the presence of major players like Lex Luthor, and now we've got Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. I like Nathan Fillion, certainly do. Certainly do. However, Guy Gardner, really? And that wig is cringe. It's pretty bad. John Murphy's spin on the iconic John Williams theme all scream one thing. This has the potential to be the start of something big. Now, this is what everyone loves in this trailer. This is the one thing that no one has a complaint about. And it's the shot of Superman just bopping into the scene and grabbing a little girl to shield her from this fucking explosive devastation that seems to be happening with all these, I don't know, like gas canisters or something next to her, and protecting her from getting her head caved in immediately by all of these flying across the screen. It's Superman. Because, you know, the funny thing about Superman, the thing that people respond to number one, first and foremost about Superman, the thing that made me love Superman when I was 4 years old, 3 years old, was when he saves people. When he saves people. Do you know why boys respond to this? Because it's in our nature to want to protect people, the people we love, the people who need us. That is men's biological imperative. Okay. And little boys want to be men, and they especially want to be able to save everybody. We will aspire to literally all of these tropes. Swooping out of the sky, picking up Lois Lane as she's falling from a building and flying her to safety, catching the helicopter as well, just being this impossible hero guy that can show up and save everybody and make everybody feel better. And I think that I really do think that we're gonna get a bit more of that in this movie, but I still don't think it's enough. If you look at the original movie, what do you get? You get, how many people does he save, right? And now I know the original movie has its problems. The ending is ludicrous, but it starts with him as a little boy saving the Kents from the car falling off the jack. He can't save his dad, obviously. We know that. That's the big problem for him. Then he makes his way to Metropolis. He catches a bullet for Lois Lane. Then eventually flies up, catches her, and the helicopter saves her that way. He then flies around, catches a plane and becomes its engine for a little while, stops a drug deal, catches bad guys. It's just straight up. And he's just doing that. And this is one of the things that you need in these kinds of movies. Spider-Man 1 has it too, although it's much shorter, a significantly shorter portion of the movie, where you just see the hero being a hero, being the savior, being the guy who flies out of the sky and saves people. Because otherwise there's very little to attach yourself to, and that's the thing that little boys aspire to. Oh, I want to be able to save people too. Yeah, that's it. At our core, little boys respond to that. So you need to have at least 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes in this movie before the plot kicks off of Superman being just a fucking great hero who saves people all in one night, by the way. He does all that stuff, apart from the bullet catch. But from the minute that he gets in that phone booth in the first movie and comes out in the Superman gear and then flies up and saves Lois Lane, he then flies around for like one evening and even rescues a cat, you know? So this is heroism. If you can't be seen doing something heroic, and and it doesn't have to be something that's like forcing you to struggle either. That's the thing they all get wrong too. His first few victories in the film should be effortless. Otherwise, the super is not there. And if he's not using the powers to do things like just make the world a better place, make the city where he lives a better place, a safer place for regular people, then the hero part is not there. And that is what you need in a superhero movie. How long has it been since in a Marvel movie you saw a superhero just saving people from regular terrible things that could happen to them? Anyway, there you go. Clearly you guys are not liking Corin's wet in the chat, but I don't care. I'll give him a chance. So anyway, but big ambition means big stakes. The film is either going to plant the flag for a new era of DC or mark the final nail in the coffin for Warner's big screen superhero ambitions. They couldn't possibly have had an easier layup here. And I really want it to do well. I really want this to do well and to get the tone right. But you're going to need to show us something besides all these other characters having like space battles or whatever they're doing. And just show us Superman saving regular people from danger. It's real easy. And then make the movie mostly about Superman. And don't add in too many extra characters in a rush to try and set something up. It will happen. You make a Superman movie. You move on. What do you do next? Okay, we're going to make a Batman movie. Great. Okay, and it's Batman. And he's not interested in Superman. And Superman's not interested in Batman. Then if you need to do a Wonder Woman movie or a Flash movie or anything else like that, then you go ahead. An Aquaman movie, whatever. But make them all independent. You can have nods to the idea that they share a universe, but you do not need them all showing up in the first film that's supposed to launch a cinematic universe, trying to launch the cinematic universe. You need baby steps. They try to run before they can walk. But yeah, I mean, I'm totally split down the middle here. On the one hand, my inner child squeals with happiness when I see Superman rescuing people. On the other hand, I go, almost everything else. I'm going to say I'm cautiously optimistic, but I fear that I'm probably not really that optimistic at all. But we'll see. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it comes out. I hope it's very good. I hope it's more grounded than it looks in the trailer. And like you said, Nathan, I'll reserve my judgment for after I see it. And absolutely fair enough. All right, we got a couple more topics to talk about. But actually, it's really just Ubisoft. So Ubisoft is completely felted. This is quick, and then we can move on to one other thing that I really wanted to talk about. And it's an interesting one. I guarantee not that many people will cover it. But before that, Ubisoft stock collapses below 10 euros as shareholder revolt erupts over the Tencent deal. So if you actually look right now, and I'm pretty sure this is live, but I'm going to refresh before putting it on the screen anyway. Yep. As of right now, Ubisoft's stock price is at 8.80. 8.80. Now, just a little while ago, it got down to 8.05 in the last 24 hours, which I think is the lowest point it's been at since like before Assassin's Creed came out. Let's have a look. So that's right now. 5 days, of course. Oh dear. Very bad trajectory. 1 month. Now this would include the release date of Assassin's Creed Shadows, March 20th. March 20th. It was at 13. Then, of course, we can go down, 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 down. €8.80. For context, back in around September last year or October, we did a sort of a funeral for Ubisoft, like a pre-funeral funeral for Ubisoft on WTF Live. Me, Ryan, and I think back then it was Rev. And we were looking at the stock price then. And it was, we were hoping that it would get down to 9. But it did, but it only did it for like a brief period, and then it was back up above 10. We have now hit this point. €8.80. 8.80. Ouch. Over 6 months then. Oh, wow. Oh, shit. That gets even worse. Yeah, free falling like Tom Petty. Yeah. So, I mean, where's Assassin's Creed? There it is. Comes out right there. Plummets. Next day bounces back. Bounces back. Bounces back. 10-cent deal gets announced around March 28th. End of, yeah. The new entity gets confirmed. Ever since then, plummet. Absolute plummet. Year to date. This is just literally from the beginning of 2025. Yeah, went down a bit, went down a bit, went down a bit, came back up, bounced back, bounced back, bounced back. Assassin's Creed comes out. Good night. Once again, 1 calendar year from now, it was at 20 euros. Now it's at less than 9. 5 years then. Oh, God. Oh, God. It was at 68. High point of the last 5 years was in 2021, which of course was on the back of COVID. This is what gave Ubisoft the confidence and the arrogance that they needed to be able to say, well, you need to get used to not owning your games. Which is, of course, an unbelievably stupid thing to say, but they haven't exactly been doing well for a while now. Start of 2024, that's when they said it. Ever since then, down, 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 down. In fact, I'm pretty sure the only time it goes green is when you compare it to all time, which of course means that there was a time when it first launched and actually was less. But I'm trying to find a time when it's been this low before. The last time the stock price was as low as it is right now was, oh, wow. Jesus, 2013. That's the last time. 12 years. Lowest point in 12 years. This company's toast. This company is dead. Totally dead. And of course, the reason is the 10-cent deal. We all know that this is what they're doing. They are attempting to reposition the company in a deal with Tencent using a new subsidiary company. They have moved all their IPs to be under, or they will move all their IPs to be under that new company. That new company will have its own stock price. And of course, they will allow Ubisoft as a parent company to fall into bankruptcy, which it was always going to do, keeping their assets safe, but not their employees. Their employees are felted. They are literally getting cleaned out because they've given their employees stock options for years now, stock options that are now worthless. Absolutely worthless. Ubisoft's financial woes have reached a critical flashpoint. On April 5th, 2025, the company's stock fell well below the psychologically and financially significant threshold of 10 euros per share, an event that sends a clear signal to investors. This company is now considered toxic. I wouldn't even say toxic. I would say radioactive. 1 second, guys. Need some water. Okay. Oh my God, yeah. X-Defiant. Oh, Jesus. That was a mess, wasn't it? Ubisoft's stock has plummeted below 10 euros, a threshold that in the financial world signals a dangerous trajectory toward becoming a penny stock. The first stage of this decline is marked by single-digit share prices, a red flag for investors who now view Ubisoft as a poison stock, a risky asset prompting further divestment. The single-digit milestone is often the initial symptom of a cancer that breeds volatility and, in the worst cases, bankruptcy. Well, that's the plan. I mean, there it is. Gamergate 2 wins again. I mean, that is the plan. Don't forget, Ubisoft is trying to go bankrupt now. They don't need all that dead weight. They are pushing everything into a new venture. But, of course, this has caused massive fucking backlash from the shareholders. Now, we've had rebellion. We've had talks of AJ Investments. That's one of their principal investors who have basically told them, you guys cannot get away with this. You need to renegotiate this deal. You cannot have a subsidiary. You need to sell the assets, sell them outright to Tencent for the valuation of the company as it was, which was 4 billion euros. But it's currently valued at 1.1 billion euros. So Tencent appears poised to swoop in and acquire Ubisoft, but this move won't halt the layoffs already underway. Whispers within the industry suggest that the most significant cuts are yet to come, with a major restructuring expected between June and July 2025. Ah, damn, man. Fucked. This is fucked. This timing aligns with the next financial report, which aims to reset the books and mitigate rising loan obligations. Though it may be too little, too late, the final nail is in place, and Ubisoft's coffin is being slowly lowered into a grave of its own making. The Ubisoft of old, once a titan of gaming, is on an unmistakable path to its demise. There you go. Absolute cringe. They've had nothing but disasters. Nothing. A minority shareholder, AJ Investments, along with a growing coalition, has issued an open letter demanding legal action and a shareholder vote. The letter calls on the French court to force Ubisoft to hold an extraordinary general meeting, which used to be called an emergency general meeting, on two proposed resolutions. One, restructure the Tencent deal as a direct asset sale worth no less than 4 billion euros, or two, distribute an extraordinary dividend of 23 euros per share in cash, totaling 3 billion to shareholders. This is the only way that they will be able to avoid the incredible backlash that they've done here. It's terrible. Ubisoft has felt it. Ubisoft remains the champion right now in the poll, in the chat, with 52% of the vote as this last quarter's biggest loser. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. And all by design as well. So there you go. Absolutely abysmal. Now, I'm going to get into a video. We're going to watch something. It's not strictly the sort of thing I normally talk about, but it does pertain to influencer culture. We've all seen the Johnny Somali thing. We've all seen what happens when influencers. I hate that term. I hate it. I don't want to be considered one of them. When they go to Asian countries and they piss off everybody and they end up in prison. The Johnny Somali thing, of course, is the most famous case of this, although another one is giving it a run for its money. Now, why does this matter to me? Well, because it's happening in the country where I live. For once. It's actually kind of amazing. Hard to believe that something has actually made it onto my radar. And 1 second, a moment. Here we go. All right. So I live in the Philippines. Oh, hello. Nathan Moon for 5. Thank you. Masturbation addiction is the only addiction that can't be defeated by just beating it. Oh my God. Oh, dude. I gotta give you some applause for that. You know, that was cringe. That was a dad joke, but you know, it's not that bad. I like it. I welcome it. Thank you. And Justin Davis, Ubisoft is going down faster than Alyssa during Fleet Week. Oh, for Christ's sakes. Ah. Thank you for that one. Yeah, guys, thank you for that. I do appreciate it. It's filling the bar up. If we can get the bar full by the end of this show, which has about 25 minutes left, then, yeah, we'll get some more gaming. We'll be playing a bit more Suikoden, trying to race through to the end of that game so we can move on to other games after it. And I'll be looking for requests for what games you guys want me to be playing, whether it's Schedule 1 or something else. So if you can, do support the stream, help to get that bar filled. And thank you very much. Okay, so this is a weird one because this gentleman and a vlogger by the name of Vitaly Zdorovietsky has been detained in a regular detention facility in the Philippines. This is the country where I live, and this is big news. The only reason that this is funny to me is because you never see a crossover between the stuff that I cover, generally speaking, the stuff that I am interested in talking about on this channel, and the stuff my wife is talking about. There is no crossover ever between that. And yet, 2 days ago, she brought this guy's video to my attention. I saw a video of him running up to a Filipino guy on a scooter and demanding the guy give him his scooter right now, and he'll give him money for it. And the guy's like in traffic, waiting at traffic lights, and he's like runs across the road. He's like, "Give me your scooter, give me your scooter. I'll give you money. Give me your scooter." And the guy's clearly like, "I don't know what to do here." The Filipinos have got a good sense of humor, and they're usually up for a meme or a good laugh, but they're not very good when taken by surprise by foreigners. This is nothing like the only instance of this. He's done lots of other things. He's insulted them. He's threatened to rob an old lady, lots of stuff like that. And it's getting him felted, frankly. The Philippines is a country where you can live very happily and do very well if you just aren't a dick. Just don't be a dick. That's basically it. Because they're very, very, very hospitable people, very friendly, very welcoming people, very, very keen to share and talk to you. It's a strange thing. Sometimes if you've ever been to the Philippines, you will realize you get in a taxi here and the guy will ask you all about yourself. It's not like getting in a taxi in the West where the guy will not speak to you even once throughout the entire ride. This guy will be like, "Oh, so how long have you been in the Philippines, sir? Oh, are you married, sir? How old are you, sir?" That kind of thing. It's a little off-putting at first, but you kind of get used to it. It's just their culture. But cross them, and you are going to wish you'd never been born. They'll use anything. They'll destroy you, whether it's legally, whether it's using the police. You better hope it's that, because I've heard worse, way worse happening. It could be you never know. Like, you might end up getting encircled by a group of people. If you start a fight in a bar, 10 people will surround you. One of them will punch you in the back of the head. You won't have a clue which one it was. You really need to watch yourself here. Don't piss people off. Don't disrespect the country. They're not like the West. If you are not respectful of them and their culture, they will tell you to get the fuck out. And that is the best case scenario. Because now it turns out this guy, Zdorovietsky, is going to be kept at the Bureau of Immigration Detention Facility in, I don't even know how to pronounce that, and I live here, city, while awaiting his court trial. Interior and Local Government Secretary Jovic Remula said Monday, or John Vic, that'll be. Remula pledged to ensure fairness in the handling of Zdorovietsky's case as he faces local charges. Don't piss off the BI. I don't know if my buddy's watching this. I sent him a link, but I got a buddy who is currently in America, used to live here, got into some trouble, got into some fights with some Filipinos, and got ratted out to immigration for overstay without updating his visa, and ended up being disappeared into a prison cell unofficially for a year before being deported. They tried to memory hole him. He was allowed to walk around. He was allowed to leave his cell. He was allowed to order food, because they won't feed you in prison, by the way. You have to arrange that yourself. And he was in there for fucking a year before he finally got out. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, that's how it can go. It wasn't even a prison. It was like an office building that had some cells on the second floor. You can get absolutely trashed. Absolutely. Hook, yeah, schedule 1. I saw about that. I see that South of Midnight is early access, is doing pathetically badly as well. 566 players, all-time peak. But anyway, I wanted to cover this because Yellow Flash did a video about it. And I didn't expect to see a video about this because, you know, again, if my wife's talking about it, it doesn't usually overlap with stuff that people I work with or talk to are talking about. So this is interesting. I want to react to this and see what he has to say. And hopefully fuck me up trying to play it.
The Johnny Somali effect.
He's not wrong. The Johnny Somali effect is in full effect here. Guys, like the stream if you are still here. Support the stream if you want more gaming. Thank you very much.
Is in place. So, as you know, I've been covering Johnny Somali. He's in a world of pain, his own. But at least he's not sitting in a Filipino prison. Whoa. They're really bad. Let me show you these beautiful.
Yeah, this is accurate. This is pretty damn accurate. The overcrowding is ridiculous. It's like a hen battery.
Full accommodations. They got serious problems with their prisons over there.
Yeah.
A big overcrowding issue.
This is why Duterte started just executing drug dealers, because they didn't have the fucking space to keep putting them in prisons. Plus, drugs were a big problem in the Philippines. This is why people like Duterte even now.
It seems to be the biggest one. These guys are literally piled on top of each other in these prisons.
Yeah, this is absolutely dead accurate, by the way. Sardine can, yeah. If you are in a Filipino prison, you are effectively in a sardine can. Yeah. You'll also notice that there's no heat, no aircon, obviously, and no fans, which is why they're all half naked. Yeah, and yeah, they're just shoved in. You don't want to get yourself into this kind of situation. You know, you say that. That's not even really a joke. But yeah, this is really, unfortunately, is the case. I can't say anything beyond that.
Not good. And from what I understand from watching a Meme Copian live stream this morning, they don't even feed you.
That's true. That's true. Yep. My buddy who was in prison here, people had to bring him food. People took turns taking food to him. Family members, friends. Whose turn is it today to feed him? Yep. Otherwise, you just starve. They don't care. They don't need you. The Philippines is overpopulated. There is serious problems with gangs and drugs. And that's why Duterte had such a zero tolerance policy on it. And why people loved him for that.
Family has to bring you the food. You could literally starve to death in these things.
Yep.
Not good. Not good.
Imagine being in a cell like that, and then one of them dies.
Good. These will be his current accommodations.
I mean,
to
be honest, I don't think it'll be like this. This is a mainstream prison. He's being detained in a BI center, so it will be different. It won't be like this. If you end up like in one of these as a foreigner, you are a dead man. A dead man.
Was hearing is true. He will be detained in one of these. Now you're asking, why is that?
Just kill her.
Well, he is what many of us have started to call the nuisance streamer. That's what he is. He's a nuisance streamer.
Yeah, that is a good term. Nuisance streamers. It's a thing. And I also should point out, by the way, historically, the Philippines loves vloggers, streamers, YouTubers. People come here and they set up a travel blog and a travel vlog. There are dozens and dozens of people, some of them whom I know, who are doing travel vlogs here in the Philippines and you know, doing relatively well as well. There are also some complete douche hats, but none of them have pissed off Filipinos to that extent that this guy has. They are very welcoming of such a thing. When people find out I'm a YouTuber, they very often go, oh, really? I want to subscribe to you. I'm like, you don't even know what I'd make. They're like, oh, I don't care. I just want to support you. I like vloggers. I watch vloggers. I'm like, you care about American politics and pop culture? And like, are you ready to learn about how movies and video games are actually shit and lying to you all the time? You know? And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'll subscribe. It's like, okay, all right. So imagine how far you have to go to get them to change their mind to this extent.
So he actually has a huge channel over here on YouTube right here. 10.2 million subscribers on YouTube.
Jesus fucking Christ. 10 million subscribers for being a dickhead. Some of us work on our channels, you know.
YouTube, I guess he streams primarily over on Kick. Kick, you gotta take down these nuisance streamers. These people are the worst. And this guy, well, the
worst part is they give us all bad name. It's going to get to the point now where, how many bots? It's going to get to the point soon where you tell someone you're a streamer and they're going to say, oh, can you leave, please?
I guess he's Russian American, so maybe he has dual citizenship. I don't know. I just know he has a big platform. And he likes to go to these.
Again, my wife told me about this 2 days ago, and then I was really surprised to see Yellow Flash talking about it. So cool.
Countries and act like an ass. Well, that is not allowed anymore. So he was arrested. I don't know if they have his smart ass mugshot on this one. It pretty much looks like this. That's
his mugshot. He is being a total dick, like a total dick. It's a Catholic country, so if you are apologetic, you can sometimes get yourself out of trouble.
It's mugshot right here. This Vitaly is back.
This guy is not apologetic.
So he got arrested and started acting like a fool while he was in their court. And they were showing his stream. He was clapping and making an L sign.
Damn,
well,
man.
He's
Don't
in trouble.
Do that. You are. Look, there's a thing here, right? There's a thing in the Philippines. It's called Pinoy Pride. Pinoy means shorthand for Filipino. Pinoy Pride. It's kind of like blind national pride. Now, I have my set of opinions about that, for better and for worse. I sometimes think that it gets in the way of actually developing a country when you just think it's not okay to say anything negative at all, ever, or criticize it. But at the same time, it's good to be prideful of your country. It's good to have pride in your flag. It's not okay when someone comes in and shits all over it. And the Philippines very much will not tolerate that. It's not like England. It's not like some parts of America. It's not like Canada, where they welcome foreigners in who disrespect them and their culture left, right, and center. They will not tolerate this.
He's not getting deported. He will be detained. And he, unlike Johnny Somali, who
and that's the other thing. Yeah. It as we saw from that just then, that article I brought up before it, they're not deporting the guy. That's not good. Now, I happen to know that there's been some controversy around the BI of late over the last couple of years, stuff that involved my friend becoming kind of a political prisoner. I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole on a live stream from the Philippines, by the way. But I will say that they are always looking for someone to make an example of.
Is allowed to at least live outside of jail is going to be sitting in jail.
This guy's going to prison.
So these are the accommodations that he will enjoy.
I don't know about that. I would be very surprised if he ends up in one of these.
Until he's probably...
They probably don't want the rest of the world finding out it's this bad.
Swiftly convicted. So I'd say he probably will be going to one of these prisons.
I mean, it would be hilarious to see a guy who's clearly like well over 6 foot tall and muscular and white as fuck in this prison system. To be fair, if he's in there for disrespecting Filipino culture, not good.
You know,
that's basically the same as going to prison in America for child abuse.
This be a lesson. Don't go to these Asian countries. Don't go to any country and act like this.
Although I'm sure it's probably the same thing here too. But if you are a prisoner in their country and you get packed into a cell with a load of them and they find out that you're there for disrespecting them and their culture.
When you're not in your home country, when you travel abroad, you should always be on your best behavior.
You really should.
You don't know that country's laws unless you've like been going there constantly. You know it. Even then, why act like an...
Even I have to be careful. There are times living here drives me fucking crazy, particularly driving. It drives me up the wall. The traffic, the sort of behavior on the road. But you can't, say it in the wrong circles.
An ass. Why? I mean, I just don't get it. So he's going to jail. He's going to jail. Oh, by the way, I guess he has a history of faking his pranks.
Hey, James up. Hey, he fakes his pranks. That's not very good.
So here is the gist of it. Controversial Russian YouTuber Vitaly
Zdorvetsky.
This last name, Russian last name, infamous for his wild pranks and legal troubles worldwide.
Where's Kira? Why isn't Kira here to correct me?
Has landed himself in hot water yet again, this time in the Philippines. The authorities arrested him on Wednesday in front of a hotel along Seaside Boulevard.
It's really, really easy to live here, by the way. This paints like a kind of bleak picture of it a little bit. I'm not criticizing Flash, by the way, in any way, shape, or form. He has about an average amount of knowledge of this country that most people would have if they've even heard of it. So he's already quite high up the totem pole. It's not that hard to live here. Just keep your nose clean. Just be polite. Be respectful. And if possible, make them laugh.
In Pasay City. His capture was executed based on a mission order from the Bureau of Immigration after reports surfaced that he...
You remember I did a video some months ago. What was the show? Rings of Power. I did a non-review of Rings of Power where instead of watching it, I took my family out for the day and went to the Bureau of Immigration because it's less painful than watching Rings of Power. No one likes going to the BI, okay? I'm not going to get into why, but no one likes it. It's a chore, It's a chore you have to do like every month or every 2 months. Go and pay to keep your visa as a tourist. It's not the most fun that you can have in the Philippines, not by miles. But you still have to be respectful.
He had harassed and disrespected Filipinos while filming in the city. So what did he do? Like this woman right here.
This is terrible.
Excuse me.
He goes up to her.
Madam.
Listen.
Madam, I'm going to fucking rob you if you keep walking away. I want to give you money.
What? What the
money? No? Okay. Okay, because you got a COVID mask.
Hang on. Let me put this back. This is terrible. What in the fuck are you doing? Why isn't it loading now? How annoying. Dickhead, play the video. Sorry, guys. I don't know why this is happening. Usually I use Brave for this, but it's been fucking me up lately, so I haven't been able to do it. If it doesn't load, then that'll be it. But basically, yeah, he runs up to this woman.
I'm going to fucking rob you if you keep walking away. I want to give you money. No? Okay. Okay, because you got a COVID mask, you liberal.
Yeah, so two things in this. Oh, he walks up to her and says, I'm going to rob you.
Yeah, she did the exact correct thing there. Like, she stopped dead.
You can't do that. It's not legal. Probably not legal here either. And then she's wearing a mask. And he's walking away saying, keep wearing a mask, you liberal F, and all this stuff. And it's like, well, this is an Asian country. I'm pretty sure in an Asian country, like they've been wearing masks for a long time. It's like a thing over.
Yeah, he's right. Actually, he's right. There were masks here before COVID. It's just the culture. They do it in Japan. They do it in China. if you're sick, wear a mask. Because especially in the Philippines, the prisons aren't the only place where you're cramped in. They're quite good at living in little space. You know what it's like. It's a developing nation. The poverty line is what it is. You can get a whole family living in one room in the Philippines, and they're fine. They don't mind at all. And but as a result, there's things like common courtesy to just wear a mask. Now, there are more people wearing masks now here than there were before. Some people are still forced to for their job, which is fucking cringe. But they're just used to it now. They're not the most rebellious people either, assertive in terms of telling the government to shut up and go away. But they've always had masks here. So it's not a political statement wearing a mask. It's the fact that you don't know if the area where you are is full of sick people or not. And I think in that case, that woman probably is just a holdover from COVID because she's genuinely still scared. It's not a political thing.
It's been a thing over there for a long time. You see like Japan, like masks, people have been wearing masks over there for years. It's not a political thing at all. That's just something they do. And like, this guy's just...
Hell, in my local pharmacy, there's a woman who wears a mask like every day. It's a nightmare, actually, because she's very quiet. The music's loud, and she's trying to ask you questions from behind a mask. You can't understand what the hell she's saying. But, yeah, you know, you just kind of work with it. You say, I'm sorry, what? You know?
He was asking for this, and it looks like karma's caught up with him. Like you can see here, he has a long list of being an ass.
Man. He stormed the 2014 FIFA World Cup final. That was him. Streaked into the court at the NBA 2016 finals. Spent 5 days in an Egyptian prison after illegally climbing the pyramids of Giza. Climbed on the Hollywood sign. Arrested and charged with aggravated battery for allegedly ambushing a female jogger in Miami.
Been spent 5 days in an Egyptian jail. So here's what he's in trouble for: harassing locals. You just saw him do that. Trespassed on private property. Made disrespectful remarks. There's one of the things is he tried to grab a security guy's gun. He was also disrespecting police several times. I saw a video of him.
Dude, you're a moron. You don't do stuff like that. Dude, they have armed guards here outside banks and things for obvious reasons. And they are armed. I mean, you know, some guards don't have guns in their holsters, but they have the holsters. A lot of them do have guns. I mean, I was walking down the street yesterday or 2 days ago. I was just going to buy some more snus from 7-Eleven. And there was a bank nearby. And there was a guy in full camo carrying a combat shotgun. Just walking down the street.
Him taking the bike's little scooter, or the cop's...
Think I'm going to go for him? No.
Scooter and moving it. One of him like grabbing a cop's hat. Like, this dude is like asking for it. So he is detained, and he will not be
smirking prick too.
Deported. So he's going to have to stand trial. See him smiling here?
Dickhead.
Smiling, acting like a fool.
And may I remind our media practitioners here that only 2 questions each so that we can give everybody a chance to ask. Thank you.
Secretary Alan Gatos from GMA.
Most of this is in
I'm not sure where he is. It's either Visayan or Tagalog.
Filipino language. I don't know their language.
There's multiple languages.
And I'm going to guess neither does he, which is probably a problem in its prison. Because as I was talking about the meme copian thing, he was saying, and he lives abroad. So I think he knows what he's talking about. I think I don't think he said he was an expert in the Philippines, but maybe I'm wrong. But apparently over there, you if you don't know English, you might get a whooping. So he might be a Filipino.
I mean, I don't know about prison, but generally speaking, everyone speaks English. You very rarely run into that many people who can't speak English in the Philippines. And if you do, there's usually someone nearby who does. So it's not, but you know, I can speak a smattering of the local dialect where I live. And I can understand significantly more than that from living here. I'm just not that confident to speak it because You can't keep up with them. They're like, you know. Justin Davis for $5. Thank you. Says, when I lived in Shanghai, it was a pollution count in weather report, and I masked up some days. In Tangshan, I don't have to, but people who do when they are sick. Yeah, that exactly. Yeah, pollution too. That's the thing. A lot of people wear masks walking along the side of the roads in the cities because there's a lot of fucking exhaust fumes. A lot. It's not as bad as one guy that I knew who came from America who used to wear like a literal gas mask. And that was back in like 2017. But hey, there you go. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate you for that. All right. We'll wrap it up here. But that's what it's like. I mean, it's not difficult to get on here. But this guy is out to try and embarrass himself and other, well, not embarrass himself, to embarrass other people. He's here to capitalize. He travels the world, takes the piss. It's not a good plan. Why would you do that? I genuinely have no idea why anyone would do that. So stupid, but it did make me laugh. And shout out to Yellow Flash for covering it. It's important shit because it affects people like us who are doing this that I'm doing. But, you know, in foreign countries, you need to watch out because people like this fucking dickhead are going to ruin it for everyone. Well, there you go. All right. That is it for this episode of HyperDrive Time. Thank you very much, everybody, for checking it out. I know we've had a relatively intimate audience for this. I guess someone else is live somewhere doing something. I don't fucking know. But there we go. So, yeah, we'll be back, of course, the same time tomorrow. But before that, we have in 12 hours' time, WTF Live with Ryan and John, where we'll be covering some of the same stuff in a bit more depth and as a panel, and also a few other topics as well. I might even bring this up again because it's really interesting. But there you go. I will be back then in 12 hours. I'm going to make some videos now. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, wherever time you're in. And of course, also special thanks to Raging D-Head, Nathan Moon, and Justin Davis for getting that bar halfway up. We'll have another crack at it later. And till next time, I'll just leave you with the credits. And I'll catch you when I catch you. All right. Take care of yourselves. See you.